If you're a new player or you're a veteran player starting a fresh account in RuneScape 3, then today's video is going to showcase 5 of the best tips for starting a new account and what you should be focusing on in RuneScape. First things first, there is one thing that everybody doesn't enjoy, but it's almost something that everyone agrees is really beneficial for your account, and that is quests. Now, quests are something that no one typically likes doing because they are quite long and there's loads of them, and sometimes you just don't feel like having to spam through 10 quests all in one go to be able to unlock the sort of stuff that you want. But remember, these quests give you some seriously good rewards at the start, things that will advance you way faster than any other training method will do. And you can see that in the form of the waterfall quest. You have things that will boost up your combat, your herb lore, all of these different quests will seriously benefit your account and allow you to grow through loads of the levels that you need, early levels as well, because typically the early levels of RuneScape are where a lot of people struggle with, and it's actually as you get to the higher levels where it starts to become more interesting and you can be able to actually do stuff that you want to and that you see everyone else doing at the high level. So when I personally start a fresh account, if I'm trying to train up an alt to be able to do some sort of money making method, I always rush high level combat because this is the easiest and fastest way to get so many more options for you to be able to level your account in other ways. So the first thing is that not only as you go through your combat levels will you be able to tackle certain things in the game, but you also open up the opportunity to earn a lot more money using combat than you will training herb lore and trying to get to the highest level, because often a lot of the skilling routes that require you to have certain levels to actually earn some money require so much money to begin with that you just will never get there by doing some simple methods. So that's something I always focus on when I'm playing RuneScape. If I'm starting a new account, is just rush high level combat, earn a ton of money whilst doing it, try and focus on certain things, and we'll talk more about the actual combat gearing and inventory later on. So what I typically do if I'm trying to improve my combat level is I will be focusing on the trolls to start with. Now, I know this sounds stupid, but yes, the brand new method in kind of the most recent Fresh Start Worlds event, a lot of people were actually shown the trolls, but this was a method that we were able to do a long time ago, and it's a brilliant way to first get your initial levels. You can stay there until you get 40 in every combat stat. It's really quick kind of XP per hour for the actual training itself. It's really easy. The only problem with it is that it does become more it's quite intensive, so it's not very AFK at all, and actually it's probably preferable if you are using magic or range to use this method, because effectively what you can do is you can put on your AoE abilities where you've got chain, where you've got ricochet, and you can basically double up how much XP you're getting in the set period of time. So along with the fact that if you are playing Fresh Worlds, which I assume quite a few of you probably will be at this point when this is released, then yes, you'll be able to get even more XP, and so it's going to be super quick. So I highly recommend rushing a high level combat straight away. Now, you will run into some problems when you do decide to rush high level combat, and that's where the next tip comes in, and that is focusing on herb lore and prayer. So everyone earns this money you get from doing combat activities. You know, you don't have to seriously be doing one specific combat activity to be able to earn money, but along the way, you'll find that you're gathering up quite a bit of cash. Now, usually people will want to spend that on gear or certain things, which is always a good idea. You should be upgrading your character as you go, but the key thing is that you need certain skills at a point in combat to make it worth it, and by that I mean herb lore and prayer, and these are 2 of the most influential perks or skills that you'll be able to then use to basically get your account to where it needs to be, and where you'll be able to do the super high tier level kind of bossing and PVM to earn the proper money, and then you can go down and you can mop up all of the low tier methods that you've been doing, and of course when you have the money at the first place, it makes all of these low tier training methods super quick, because you can just focus on, hang on a minute, is it worth me spending an extra 5 hours down there, down at tier like at levels 20 to 40, or is it just worth me just spending the actual GP and I will have earned it back in 1 hour and it would have saved me 3.5 hours? So yeah, you have to weigh it up. Sometimes spending a ton of money on some low tier stuff will actually end up earning you more money than if you were to spend nothing on the skill and just do it purely just training the skill. So yeah, you have to weigh it up. How much money can you earn per hour versus how much would you be losing out if you spent extra time doing that training method? So something I always do, and focusing on herb lore and prayer is something I always invest my money into, and it's something you can do along the way as well as gearing up your account. So, of course, herb lore, prayer, they're really essential for getting overloads and also being able to get curses. And yes, I know that Soul Split and all of them require some really annoying requirements, which is the temple at Centerston, I believe. And yeah, you're going to have to be doing that. You're going to have to actually go for it, which is a little bit of a pain. But once you've done it, you'll be able to get your curses. You'll be able to then do the highest tier PVM, which is where you'll earn a ton of GP super easily without having to invest much time or money in actually doing it. Now, we focus quite a lot on the kind of combat side of your fresh account. And actually, that isn't everything about RuneScape. You don't have to play and just use combat. And actually, sometimes it's good to use the other skills in the game to be able to earn some money, because you can do it more passively than combat potentially. And you can do certain other things that are going to yield you better results and also improve your account at the same time. So let's focus on earning low-hanging fruit money-making methods that you can also train from. So things, for example, are using your kind of herb lore ability to be able to then actually create unfinished potions, which then you can use the wasteless herb lore ability from dungeoneering. And these are all sorts of things that you'll be working towards. But sometimes during that period of time, you may want to grab the easiest and kind of training method that also boosts up your skill. So what you want to do is just find out variations of loads of small little money making guides as you go through, and that way you can earn the money. You can then invest it into your account, which I highly recommend. You should always invest into your account rather than gear and everything like that, because overall it's better to have 99 prayer than it is to have the highest tier melee weapon, and that's it on your account. You should always focus on trying to get your account better so that everything becomes easier, so that you can then earn more money quickly. So that's what I always do. And of course, it starts with trying to get yourself some cash in the first place. And of course, that doesn't have to come from combat. And the fifth tip in today's video, it's something that I feel like a lot of people go wrong as a new player or someone that's creating an account, is that they'll spend all of their money on various different gear types. They'll spend loads of money on various different skills, and they'll just spread all of their money all around everything and not really think about focusing on one specific thing. And I'm not just talking about combat, but it's a very good example. So what I've always done on my accounts is pick a singular combat style, and I will fully max it out. And that allows me to then have the high tier PVM option as doing anything that I want to do. And actually, if you've got a main account, you may be able to transfer some of your gear over just to train with and then transfer it back. If you've got non-degradable and non-bindable gear, then that's something you can always do. But one thing that I always do is try and focus on one specific class. Then once you've got that to a very high standard, you can then go about maybe training range, for example, after doing mage. Then you can get all of the gear for range up and then go on to do melee and then get all of the gear and all of the levels for that and do it in that way, because that way you can then get to the highest tier levels on your account on one specific combat style, because ultimately probably 90% of all of the combat moneymakers, other than like the high tier bossing, require you to basically have a combat style. It doesn't really matter which one, and even if you don't have the correct one, you can still do it. And that's something that I would always focus on. Just get one gear, and this applies not only to combat, but it also applies to potentially investing into your own account for your skills. So one thing that I've always kind of iterated in my videos and when you're trying to actually level up your account is that you need to get all of these small unlocks that actually stack up on top of each other and make it so much easier. So for example, the dungeoneering kind of herblore ability, as well as having your smithing ability, and they basically save you like small chunks of how much GP you're going to be putting into the skill, whilst also then speeding it up, because then you don't have to go out of your way to get more of the materials, and they basically just save you the materials. And also along the way you'll find that actually maybe I can just focus on getting all of the unlocks for one specific method, do that, get it right out of the way, get 99 in whatever you want, in whatever skill it is, focus on getting everything that you need for that, and then branch off to a adjacent skill that might be really, really close to what you've done, and you can use the progress that you've got from one of them on the other. So for example, if you're doing woodcutting and you ramp it all the way up to 99, save your logs, don't sell them. You'd be better off to just save them and then just do all of the training methods using the stuff that you've already got. And you can kind of do this, and you want to be very specific in the way that you target all of your leveling up. And of course, if you need certain requirements for certain things, like quests that, as we spoke about in the first place, was really, really important, then yes, you can go forward and try and get all of the specific requirements so that you get that one massive unlock that's going to open up the game to a whole new level. And that's something I think everyone should focus on, not just gear, but just in general, looking at the holistic picture. Which bit should I focus on? Not just spreading yourself so thin and then not really getting anywhere in anything, and then you find yourself so spread thin that you just give up. So hopefully that gives you a good overview. It's more of a kind of thought process. It's more to engage with you to find out what you guys actually think is the best optimal setups, the best tips for starting a new account. How would you change anything in this video? Leave them in the comment section down below. And hopefully this gives you a decent overview. Of course, we've got plenty of other guides that focus on money-making methods that we've kind of done in the past, and also some of the best unlocks and some of the best gear items that you can get in RuneScape as well. There's loads of guides. Check them out on the playlist on screen, and I hope you join me in one of the videos coming soon. Goodbye.